What was Paro thinking? Moshe and Aaron came to Paro and said, in the name of Hashem, let the Jewish people go. Let them leave Mitzrayim, let them leave Egypt. Paro's response, well, who's Hashem? And who are you, Moshe and Aaron, that I should listen to any of you? Moshe and Aaron walk out of Paro's palace very frustrated. And as they leave, Paro calls all of his taskmasters together and he says, the Jewish people have too much time on their hands. That's why they're going to Moshe and Aaron and they're discussing rebellion. Let's quell the rebellion right now. Starting tomorrow, all the Jewish people are not to be given any supplies. Normally, each day, the people were given straw, and with the straw, they were to make their quota of bricks produced for Paro in order for him to build more. So Paro says no longer are they to be given straw, but they're still required to make the same amount of bricks. Now, what was Paro thinking? Being reasonable, one would have thought that Paro would want the Jewish people to produce more, work harder and produce more. Produce more means add to the amount of bricks that they were required to produce. Give them straw, but they would be working even harder, and he would be able to build even more. That would also quell the rebellion. So what was Paro's thought process? What was his goal here? By having them have to look for straw on their own and yet produce only the same amount of bricks without the increase in their quota. So Rav Yitzchak Mivarka suggests that Paro understood that there are a number of ways to break a person. And one of the ways to break the person is by physically breaking them, making them work very hard, back-breaking work. And another way to break them is to really destroy their spirit, to really give them a sense of hopelessness. And the way to do so is that every morning they would not know what the day would look like. If they were given the straw and they had to produce a certain amount of bricks, well then they knew. It was like they went to a factory. They knew exactly what the day was going to look like when they woke up in the morning. But if they had to find their own straw, they didn't know how long it would take them. Maybe they wouldn't find enough in order to produce their quota. And so their mental capacity would become very challenged. And they would have a feeling of hopelessness when waking up every morning, and they would become very down and depressed. And that would break their spirits. It would break them apart. It would make the Jewish people change their entire mindset toward being good slaves, good workers for Paro, as opposed to rebellious slaves, workers who were fighting back against the industry and against the system. And so Paro reasoned it's possible to break the spirit of a people by putting a requirement upon them that would literally drive them crazy. And that's what he did. Makes us think for a moment in our own lives about, to a certain degree, how we've become slaves. We've become slaves to the work that we do on a regular basis, the lack of sleep that we get, the lack of focus on our own health. Yeah, we try to focus on our physical health, but our spirit, very often, our heart, our emotion, takes the toll for all of the focus that is placed by our mind on work, work, work. And that we don't step back and take a break and allow ourselves to separate in order to be able to focus on what it is that we're trying to succeed at, in order to be able to see beyond the work day and the work week and look at our vision and goals for life, a vision of life full of Torah and mitzvos. And so maybe the lesson that we can learn from Paro is that we have the ability and responsibility to step back and to recognize that our health is not only our ability to be physically healthy, but our ability to be emotionally healthy, so that we can succeed not only at the work that we do to earn our livelihood, but that we could also succeed at the spiritual work that we need to do on a regular basis. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.